X WWE2k19. I'm doing a bit of a bonus stream today for you. So what I'm doing, I'm about to create Triple H, or Hunter Hearst Helmsley more appropriately. So obviously on the game we get trips, but I love creating Hunter Hearst Helmsley. I want to be blue blood from Greenwich, Connecticut. I've got more money than you, kind of Triple H. I really like the character, but I actually use him for my going through all of my characters that I want to create or looks for. So Triple H will be one of them, but I am going to go in there and do a few more as well. So I'm probably going to be quieter on this one. Maybe that'll be a good thing, I don't know. But I want you guys just to see a little bit of behind the scenes of me creating without me having to explain after the fact what I've done. I'd rather you just be able to see sort of live. This is what he does to create a wrestler. This is how he creates an alternate outfit. This is the amount of time it takes to look through all the droves of stuff that we have. So I'll try and do a bit of commentary. I'll try and keep talking just to keep it a bit more exciting than just watching the game. But if you've got any questions, hit me up, ask me. And if you've got any particular outfits that you like from wrestlers, let me know. I'm probably going to do a few of my own that are originals that I like to add into the game. But apart from that, here we go. So obviously with him, what I'm thinking now is that I've got alternate attires. What do I want to do? I can basically choose. I want to do an ECW version because in my universe mode I have ECW. So I like throwing sort of the blue blood into ECW. I've thought about doing Terrorizing before because he's a completely different character and unique, and actually one that I wouldn't mind trying because I've never created him before. But he was in WCW. I don't think he was actually in ECW. Me think, but also what I tend to do is go online. Oh my gosh, I'm just looking at some images of Triple H when he was terrorizing. So what I do is I go back. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I go back into, like, I don't know, whatever I need to. WE Network, Google is always an easy, quicker solution for me. I guess what I'm going to do is create a completely new guy. Now, I'm not sure which one I want to be, if I'm honest. I'm still debating whether to do, like, the ECW, the usual Hunter Hearst Helmsley that I have, or Terrorizing. Terrorizing looks like super simple to create. Almost too easy to create that kind of level. And I'm also debating whether I'm going to use him because all the creations that I have, I want to actually use in my universe mode. I don't want to just have people sitting on there, taking up a core spot that I could use for someone else that I would actually genuinely like on the roster. So if it's Terrorizing, I need to know in my head that I'm actually going to use him. If it's Hunter Hearst Helmsley, then I know that I'm going to use him. So maybe I'm just going to stick with my original plan. But Terrorizing would be a really cool one to add at some point. And again, like I said, it's super easy to create Terrorizing by the looks of things. Yeah, I can do that outfit. So we'll go back and let's start. Now what I like to do with all my guys, whoever I'm creating, I don't know why, but I like to just delete everything that I won't be using. So if there's something that I like on there that I think, oh, this would be good, I'm going to use this, then I'll keep it. But most of the stuff I tend to delete. And basically, it gives me a blank canvas to work from. And I haven't got to be distracted or influenced by an outfit or attire that the wrestler used to wear, or wears now, I should say. I want to be able to go back and say, okay, this is what he looked like. Now, obviously, I can't take his beard off for him to be Hunter Hearst Helmsley. I can't actually change. I can do his hair dye, but to be honest, unless I want to lighten Hunter Hearst Helmsley's hair, I don't think there's any need to. If I look at Hunter, yeah, I mean, yes, he does have lighter hair, so let's go into that. Let's do that first. Let's see if I can select like a decent color. Now, this is always difficult because this part of the game, you're essentially guessing what you're doing, because you don't know until you actually put the dye on the... What I tend to do is I tend to zoom in, and then I just do a little line or something just to find out how does it look, you know? And if it's bad, I undo it. In this case, I actually want to do more of the hair. So I'm going to go up, and I'm just going to do like a straight line across and see how blonde it is. Okay, that's way too blonde. That's like... no. And this is unfortunately a part of the process. Like, you just have to take a while moving through the color selection, and it just takes a while. But eventually you get there and you're like, okay, this is closer. And I'm not saying this is right, by the way, but this is closer to the one that I want. So what I do is I'll do one, I'll take it back. To me, that looks a bit too green. So what I need to do now is just sort of slide it over, maybe bring a touch of yellow back. Because you want it to look, I like mine to look natural. It may just be that I have to bite the bullet and go with like a much brighter hair color. But he didn't have... He had like naturally very light blonde hair. I don't know if he dyed his hair. I don't know Triple H, so I wouldn't know whether he used to dye his hair to do it. But he did have very light blonde hair. This actually looks a little bit closer to what I want. I still think I want to go a little bit darker than that though. Maybe that'll do. Okay, this is more of a like... I wouldn't say this is a natural blonde, but this is definitely closer to the kind of Triple H that I want. So straight away, all I do, anything that I can see, you just coat it. Coat that mofo and get as much of his hair painted as possible. I'm still not even... I should be better at this game by now, but I'm not, so I apologise. But I've just realised I've actually dyed Triple H's beard as well, which is weird. I've never done that before. Now, he didn't have a beard, but he did have sideburns, so I'm okay doing the sideburns yellow. But I'm not actually okay with anything else. This is weird on the game. So the way that the dye system works is kind of strange, because it doesn't pick up all areas. Like, I've got my finger held down on X right now. And if you're watching on Xbox, I have no idea what your satanic control system is, but I'm holding X down, and it's only you can see that it's like painting certain areas but not others. It's very selective about what it's choosing. It's very... It wasn't this bad last year. Last year it was basically whatever you see in front of you, it will paint over. That you just have to accept the fact that you've just got to go with what it's doing. So I'm going to go right down on his sideburns, simply because I did on that side as well. I need to be... Obviously there needs to be a level of consistency with his hair here. And then again, just plastering as much as I can with the blonde. And it's difficult. Sometimes you have to do this 2 or 3 times in the game. And the other reason for doing it all in one go as well is so that you obviously, if you make a mistake, not that I'm going to when I'm covering a whole guy's head of hair, but if you do make a mistake, it's obviously always helpful to actually have the least amount of parts in each go as possible. Just see if I can... Yeah, and like I said, look, you can see how weird this is. It's not picking up that patch of hair there, and yet it picks up all these bits over here. And this is time consuming. I mean, I've just looked at the clock now, and the one thing helpful for me is that this clock is going to tell me how long stuff takes to create. I'm 10 minutes in to a creation, and I'm not even finished on dyeing his hair. It's a long process. If you're going to get involved with creating wrestlers, I mean, I don't like it that much. I don't do many wrestlers like this, but what I will say is that it is very rewarding at the end if you do one that's very accurate to their real life persona. But when you make one that gets like 2 downloads after 2 months, you then just have to start questioning your own sanity, because you're just like, I spent so long just creating this piece of content and nobody likes it. It can be quite debilitating for your ego. So when you get into it, just make sure that you're ready to like be rejected. I think I like this. I mean, it's not quite the right color blonde that I would use. If I'm really honest, I could probably lighten it or make it more... Probably, yeah, I think I'd probably whiten it a little bit more, because I think it's almost... It's not too blonde. It's okay. Like, it's doable, and I'm going to use that one for my character. I think all his hair is basically coloured. There's a couple of little dots there that aren't, but yeah, let's get those while I'm in here. See if I can get them. There you go. Let's just make... I don't like the fact that this only goes to this size as well. You would think that you would be able to dye at massive diameters, but unfortunately the game just doesn't let you. There's a couple of edges that I've noticed that I missed, so that's it. That's Hunter Hearst Helmsley's hair done. So what I've done now, obviously I've started with his hair. I've got pictures of him online, so I'm just looking at his outfits. If I go quiet, it's usually because I'm either tired of talking, or simply put, I just want to look at something important on the internet to make sure that I'm getting all the details right with what he wears and the colour schemes. Now, yes, I like this one. I've just found one from '96 that I really like, so I'm probably going to use that colour scheme. I usually start from the top. And work my way down, so from what I can see, he doesn't wear elbow pads. He wears like wrist tape. I reckon, no. They're quite long. He has kind of like thicker ones. I actually think that's a little bit too thick for him. That's much better. That's the one I wanted. Straight over to colour, because the wrist tape tends to be right. I always make it bright white. I just think the tape is white. If you've ever used electric tape, I used to use it when I played football or soccer for my ankles. It's great stuff. Doesn't hurt, even though it sticks to you really tight. And the main thing is that it is pure white. So I know, I can speak from personal experience that these things, that's exactly how they look in terms of their colour. They don't have like a yellowish colour to them. They are very pure with the colours that whatever you want, they're very pure colours. Now, from what I can see, I probably should have left this, but Trips does have the little finger. Now, I'm not sure which one is Triple H's. It looks to me like he's got it on his little finger, though. So what I'm looking for here is more tape that's not like that. That's probably too much. But I want tape that's on the little finger more than anything else. Which, okay, it doesn't look like they actually have one that's more bias to the little finger. However, I know that Triple H is... I believe Trips is this one, but I'm not sure. But I really want one that actually has it on his little finger, because that's what he has on the video that I've got in front of me. He's definitely got some on his little finger. But and this is the frustration, you know, when you're trying to create something authentically and you're saying, I'm going to run this off of like 1996 or whatever. I wish you could customize these little elements. Like, I wish you could just switch the tape to a different finger perhaps. But oh, that one looks alright. What's that one? Okay, I'm gonna use this one. It's not ideal. It's not the best one that I would use, like, but it's got the little finger tape. It's also got his other thing, his sort of, not his wedding finger because that's his right hand, but it has those fingers taped, which is what it looks like he has here. So that one's great. Obviously his nails aren't done. Okay, so that's the upper body for Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Now, he wasn't that popular with my downloads. Of all the sort of created ones that I threw online, he wasn't the most popular, if I'm honest, last year. But I really like him, so it's tough. I'm going to put him on there anyway, so if you guys like the creation, you can go ahead yourselves and put him on there. One thing I don't like about this, the tights, when it does all the generic clothing pieces, they should be black and white in my opinion, not just one color white, because it means that I can't actually see the important parts that I need to. Hunter Hearst Helmsley has a very specific pair of tights that have a little bit of color on the inside knee, and without having to go through every single set of tights, it would be so much easier if they just made it black and white, so I could just see straight away which one it is. Now, it's not that one. That's up by the groin area. You're looking for... He also wears a belt, and I'm not sure if that comes with the outfit. Do you know what? Let's just quickly go over to WE and let's see if... There it is. Why am I even looking on that? I should have known it would be on here. So these are the trousers, or the pants, or the tights, whatever you want to call them in your respective culture. Now, they looked more velour-like. I still don't know what velour is, but I know that that style of colour is... that style of texture is what they look like. The belt I always try and do as black as possible, basically. So I just pick one that looks very dark, even if it's not leather. Of course, a belt is probably going to be made of leather, but or maybe plastic. But I want it to be true. I want it to look how it should. So obviously, I'm okay with the buckle being metallic. And then I always use the truest and the darkest blacks, usually. Unless I see something where I'm like, actually, that doesn't look quite right, I might sometimes lighten the colour. Because his pants were kind of like, I guess he probably didn't have that much money at the time, so his pants might have been a bit more faded, because he would have used them a lot more, I imagine. I don't know enough, and I'm not trying to pretend to know enough about wrestling, as like the inside of the industry, to make those kind of comments. Now, the colour I want is this kind of... It's actually a tanned colour. The one in 96 that he's wearing on the image I've got in front of me. Yeah, it's like a... He wore either white or tan. Now, I prefer the tan colour myself, just because it looks a lot nicer. It's actually like a suede. It looks like a suede colour, so it's a really nice... It's almost like a pair of horse riding trousers, which makes sense why you would wear those as an aristocrat, somebody who's got the money to go horse riding and whatnot. Then obviously the metallic, I want to make that a little bit brighter. There you go, just to make it look a bit more real, like it's normal metal. Now, another great thing for a designer about Triple H is that his he doesn't have like his name, he doesn't have any graphics on his shorts or anything, so this is the kind of guy any of you can go out and create. Now, in terms of his knee pads, I don't see any knee, like he's definitely wearing knee pads, but they're underneath the clothing. So that suggests to me that I literally don't need to add knee pads on this outfit, because I guess the presumption is that he puts his knee pads underneath his tights, and then the tights help to hold the knee pads in place. So now we can move over to boots. Now he's got buckled boots. It's like that. Very, very, almost identical to those, but not quite those. So that's what I'm looking for. Again, searching in black is difficult when it's a one colour boot, because you don't necessarily know if that's them or not. You know, you have to actually go over to the boot, and that looks like, okay, these aren't the boots that he wore in 96, 95, but these are Triple H's boots. These are definitely the boots that he's wearing, because I've got another picture of him now wearing these exact boots. So for the sake of time, I'm going to just go ahead and I'll do all the materials. Now again, I do look at their boots, and I like to look at what they're wearing and just sort of say to myself, is it leather? Is it, you know, what material is it? If it is specific material, then I like to change it. Actually, I don't know what the default is, but that is accurate for this pair. I obviously always do cloth, and I always do rubber for the base, regardless, because it would be a rubber sole. I can't imagine what else they use for the sole. Maybe it's a special like plastic foam. Like I've seen some shoes with this really soft, like the Tom shoes have. Maybe they use that for mat work, because it's probably a bit different from walking around on the street. And so the next thing I want to do is the colour, obviously. Now fortunately this isn't going to take long, because I've got the colour saved. What I like about this is that looking at that colour immediately lets me know that I've got the wrong colour on top. And this is sometimes more helpful when you do this on a game. It's just a slightly darker brown, that's all. It's a richer brown and slightly darker. Nowhere near poo colour, by the way. But it's about there. So that's great, because it just helps me. And that's the thing, sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and realise, okay, I've used a different colour. I'm just going to go and change it. And don't be pretentious enough or don't be so proud that you're not willing to go back and just change it. For the sake of being perfect and getting this right, and authenticity, I think it's worth going back and changing. Now, like I said, those aren't his original boots that he wore with this colour, so I'm sure people are going to criticise that, but on a whole, this looks more or less like the Hunter Hearst Helmsley that I'm looking at in front of me. Again, I'm looking at his hair, I'm like, I still think I could change his hair colour. That would be the last thing that I would consider doing now. So what I'm going to do is go ahead, and I'm just going to try and get this hair colour right, because I'm not convinced that the one I used is accurate for Trips. Perfect if you're doing highlights, but I actually think this might be the one that I'm happy to go with. Because this is kind of, what I've got here is like the balance between the lightness and darkness. I don't want the hair to look bleach blonde. I just want it to look blonde. I want it to be like natural blonde, so the dark bits actually look like it's just naturally darker hair rather than a different light source of a bleach blonde hair. And again, you know, I always just scroll it down as far as possible. Sideburns with Trips need to be done as well. I think what works actually quite nicely with these sideburns, it seems to fade the colouring quite well. You can see that it's not, for some reason that line is the cut-off point for this hair dye from this angle. but it works perfectly there, so that's great. Yeah, much happier with this hair colour. This looks like the winner to me. This looks like the one that I'm actually going to be happy with. Now I'm just got to finish colouring it off. It's a shame that it won't do that, but obviously just changing that angle slightly has moved it. You can see that the line has moved ever so slightly backwards. And again, it's a long process, you know. This is not an easy process by any means. They make you work for your creations on this game. But we persevere and we get there in the end, and hopefully you guys benefit with a core that looks really stunning and authentic. Yeah, definitely happy with this. And the good thing about this is if you miss, when it comes to hair like this and colour like this, when it's a real slight difference, if you actually miss a bit, it kind of makes it look more natural. So don't worry necessarily about getting every strand of hair covered when you're using two colours that are very similar, because actually it ends up looking just as natural if you leave it on. Especially things like the tips. Like I'm not going to hold the tips as a point of perfection for now. I wish this cursor moved faster than it does. It should be a faster cursor and a larger cursor, in my opinion. These are things that they could probably help you reset or customize the speed of, because if you could do it, it would be so much easier. The only other thing I can think of to make it bigger is this. If you just obviously zoom out. The problem with zooming out, you have less control over the areas that are actually being dyed, so you've got to be, again, you've just got to be really careful that what you're dyeing is actually looking the way you want it to. Because he's got facial hair, and obviously I don't want to get Triple H's facial hair into the shot here. I want to make sure that the only things that are actually being coloured. There we go. Just want to try and make sure that like the same amount of his hair is dyed on both of his sideburns, otherwise it would look really weird. Now again, you could dye the front bit, either that it looks wrong, so confirm that. And there you are, that's Hunter Hearst Helmsley. That's actually his ring attire, so now the only thing to do now is to copy this attire. Yep. And like I said, today I'm only going to do, I'm not actually going to do terrorizing in this video. Again, clothing, upper body, and I guess this is like an outfit. But obviously we all know that is not an outfit. Jacket. We all know that Mr. Helmsley wore a proper gown. Here we go. Not DDP. He might have stole DDP's finisher. But he definitely didn't steal his jacket. This is so strange. Is that 2 DDPs there? Now, I remember what I did last time. I actually, I didn't like the jacket that they used for Hunter Hearst Helmsley. I've never been a fan, so actually what I've done before is just gone ahead and used different jackets that I like. Now, obviously, I'm not a big fan of the Warriors for his character. This one looks like Triple H. Okay, this is actually Triple H's, though. This is when he started being in DX and switched over to DX. But it's there, it's a go-to, I can use it if I need it. What I'm doing right now is just going over them and just reviewing all of the ones that are on here. And just trying to make sure that like there's not an actual Triple H one I can use from the Hunter era. Wow, that Sting one looks... I mean, it doesn't look like it, but at the same time, it kind of looks like an old one. That looks really cool. I don't know what that one is, but that looks really cool. I don't think Triple H wore a... I know he wore a shirt, like a frilly shirt underneath, but I don't think he wore a waistcoat as well. That's a really bizarre addition. I wonder who that jacket actually belongs to. Oh well. Definitely not these. No, not that one. So as you can see, this is just the way that you know, when you're doing creations, you have to sort of bite the bullet and accept that it's going to take you a long time to find the stuff. Unless you remember from the year before, it's just going to take you a long time to identify the actual attire that you want to wear for specific characters. And as long as you're okay with it. Okay, here's a plain one. Now, I don't like them. I don't like the ones that it's given me for Triple H, but knowing that there's a generic version, that makes me feel much happier about life, because I can go and grab that generic version and he can wear that. The Rock and Roll Express, Macho Man. But as I keep saying, you can see how hard this game is to just get right. Oh, is that the Genius? It just depends how authentic you want to be. If you're willing to sort of compromise a bit of authenticity for, you know, just the fact that it might look better on him, fine. Me personally, I am not willing to compromise stuff. So it has to be something Trips would have worn himself. But at the same time, I want a plain version of it. And I'm just going to say that this would have been something Triple H would have worn later in his run as Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Again, you can see I'm just trying to look at textures, just trying to get like something that looks nice, but I basically want a bit of a shine to it. So I usually go with velour or satin, because that kind of gives quite a damp shine. But it's also not like a mirror, where plastic really acts like a mirror when it comes to its shine, and I hate that. Now, okay, he wore outfits, but obviously the original Aristocrat wore a red, unless it comes under a different style jacket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and look at tops, and I'm going to see if I can find perhaps a jacket hidden in here. If it's hidden in here, I'll go out, delete the coat, and come back. If not, no loss, because obviously he's still wearing his coat. This just gives me a chance to actually check and see if for some reason it's been put in here rather than in the outfit section. Now, the one thing I would say, of course, is that with Triple H, you might want to make him wear what he used to wear, which was something like similar to that. It wasn't exactly that, but it was similar to that. You might want to put him in his actual full attire. For me, I'm okay. When I saw Triple H wear his... No, when I saw Triple H wearing what he was wearing to the ring, he didn't have anything underneath his top at some points in his career, so I don't think it matters. This stuff is really down to you. I don't think people are gonna moan that he hasn't got anything on, so I wouldn't worry too much about that stuff. Okay, second colour. Again, I like to match things, even if that isn't totally authentic. I do like to match things with with the wrestlers. I think it looks a lot better when you color code stuff. So that's his outfit. And there you go. This is Triple H. This is everything he would have wore. This is going to be my Hunter Hearst Helmsley. So the next and the final thing now is to confirm that. Confirm that. And then obviously what we need to do now is you press accept, go to name information. Something I hated last year is the fact that Hunter Hearst Helmsley looked terrible on the game selection menu, and it looked even worse when you were playing the game itself. And he's also got a very long name, as you can see. It's Hunter Hart Helmsley. That's definitely not his name. So actually it is... Oh, the worst. Okay. I'm going to use the rest. So it's Hunter Hearst Helmsley. I don't know how that's going to look, but I'm sure we'll find out in the game. Just to let you know, I do tend to go and play these characters straight after I've created them, just because I think it helps you understand exactly how it looks. Sorry, I'm just thinking of what I'm going to do here. So Helmsley. Also, I don't think it was in last year. I don't think they actually added his full name, which really annoys me, because they did the same with Booker T. It's like, if you're giving the clothes for the guy that you're putting on here, make sure that you can actually say his name. Should be easier that they're all in the same place. Yep. Typical. They actually haven't got Hearst Helmsley. Now, they might have Hearst, but it might be spelt differently. So let's see if they've got it somewhere else. Nope. Nope.
Hart, Heath, Heather.
Hearn would be good or something like that, but I don't think they have it.
Hero, Hernandez. Holmes. Howe. Hubert.
No. So what I'm going to go with is
Heath. Hart. Heath. Hine. Helen. Hennig. Henry.
Oh man, there are some bad ones. So what I'm trying to do is just find a name now that's sort of close to what I want. So I'm thinking if the word dirt.
Dirty.
Nope. Sounds crazy, but words like first. You know, it's just about thinking. You kind of learn a new vocabulary when you start creating content, because you start having to think what words rhyme with certain other words. So there's Hearst. So I'm thinking burst, but that would be, I think that would literally be too hard a word with the letter B.
Burns.
Thirst, but again, I don't think that they would have that word on there. Something like the word nurse, perhaps. Nope.
North.
Wow, loads of C's.
Kurt.
Okay, Kurt. They've got to have Helmsley. If they don't, I'm jumping off a cliff. Oh. Looks like I'm jumping off a cliff because they haven't got it. They haven't got Helmsley. This is really typical of WE when it comes to the names. They should have the official names of all of their wrestlers. So I don't understand why they haven't got something like
Hustler.
Helmsley on here. Oh, wow. I mean, how do you find a word that's close to that?
Holmes. Homeboy.
I'm not doing homeboy. That's like just somewhere I refuse to go.
Hillbilly.
Do you know what? Hillbilly sounds a lot like it, but I can't use that word.
Hercules. Herbert. Hennig. Harvey.
Hunter Kurt Harvey. That is so bad. I'm okay with those. But what I would say is he's going to be in ECW. And he wasn't known as the Cerebral Assassin. So what I'm trying to do is find like some sort of ECW style banners to throw in. And I think that again with the posters you should always look to throw in signs that would have belonged in the brands that they fight in, because it just helps add that extra level of authenticity when you see like a Triple H banner, but then next to it you've got ECW. It just makes you realise, it makes it look like he's actually fully immersed. Definitely don't think that is what Hunter Hearst Helmsley would look like. I feel like he would do the William Regal pose, which is somewhere. There it is. Not sure that's the actual one because his head's down. So again, just trying to look for a very, very specific type of pose. There it is. Okay, so this is the one that I want for Triple H. Or Hunter, I should say Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Now, Hunter had like a very flimsical way about him, so again, you don't want his back to get caught, so you want to make sure that whatever he has basically has one hand closed and the other hand open. Or at least that, I mean that's weird, but you don't want to be able to see the other hand. Essentially, that's the key here with Hunter. You want to be able, I mean that one's like a little claw. That one's okay. He's still got his hand open, but that actually works. And then we all know that as an aristocrat, he was more laid back. So we don't want to give him an angry pose. We want to give him like a sort of I'm happy with myself because I know I'm better than everybody kind of look. These look like he's kind of thinking about something philosophical, and that is not what he needs to look like. Definitely, that looks like he's trying to focus on a fly in the wall behind the camera. Looks like he's just farted. And then what I love is the fact that you get to choose more or less where the pose sits. So I think I'm going to do that one. And that's it. So that's my first creation. That's Hunter Hearst Helmsley. What I am going to do is put this creation straight onto community creations now. Because it just so happens that I have space for each of these characters, so my plan was always to duplicate a couple more and then just put them up. Again, I could do terrorizing, but I think I'm going to stick to Triple H. Strangely, how it works now is that it sends you back to the original mode where all the original superstars are, but it forgets that you're now not into that at all. You've just created a new one, so there's Hunter. Oh, let's just see. Okay, so they've put HHH there. Now I'm leaving it at that, and then if anybody wants to put Hunter on, they can. And again, I love the fact that it remembers your hashtags this year. It never used to remember it before. Oh, this is difficult. So I'm going to call him Helmsley, but then I want to leave a hashtag because what I like to do is you know, put him in some sort of, I would probably put him under WWF because that's obviously when he was Hunter Hearst Helmsley. And that's it. So Hunter Hearst Helmsley is now available in the creation suite. He looks alright. I think his hair looks a bit blonde in the pose, but he still looks good. Let's just come out of here. I tend to go back in. I don't know why. It's just a thing that I do. Just to make sure that it's definitely gone into the store. So it's there. You can create. You've got your own Hunter Hearst Helmsley if you want. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this now. And then go back in. And probably do some more content later of other creations that I make. But I hope that was helpful. As I've said before, you can hit me up on Twitter at xharperco, or you can hit me up at IG xharper.co. For those of you who want to download content, I've got loads of good stuff. Have a look at my uploads. I'm just going to jump back in and show you what I've got so far. Obviously, you've seen the creator wrestlers. I tend to do a lot of the duplicate wrestlers from that are original on the game. I like doing that. Images, I've got loads of fun images. The one that's really popular at the moment since I uploaded it yesterday is Extreme Championship Wrestling, the one of the original ECW logos, so check that one out. My arenas are doing really well, from Starcade 97, World War 3 97, Fall Brawl 97, the Great American Bash 97, Slamboree 97. Can you see the theme? Bash at the Beach 96, because that's where Hogan turned heel. Road Wild 97, which was my prediction yesterday when I uploaded to do well. And it's actually now, it started really slowly, but now it seems like people are beginning to notice just how good that arena is. So that's getting loads of downloads. ECW, my first ever ECW arenas, November to Remember 97 and ECW Hardcore Heaven. Again, they're actually doing better than I thought they would. SummerSlam 95 which is one of my favorite arenas. It's in the top 3 arenas that I've created in terms of full immersion, full authenticity. It looks basically as good as the original arena did in real life. So go and download some of those. Championships, I've got all my normal belts that I've got. The ECW television title that they ridiculously removed from the game, I've uploaded that, and that's, again, you can see that's doing well. Helps people with their ECW world. And then Cruiserweight title, which you can actually use with anybody with any weight division. So Jericho, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, whoever you want can actually win the title. Rey Mysterio, of course. ECW Cruiserweight title, which is it's the best title I think I've ever created, in my personal opinion. I love it. I think it's a really cool looking title. It's obviously been ripped off of the current Cruiserweight title. I love the colour scheme that I've used and the logos, and I've changed the design slightly with the Cruiserweight champion being inside the circle rather than on the edges. So I really like that belt. I love the little ECW side plates as well. That was uploaded yesterday and has got a few downloads. Hardcore title, which I like now. I've changed it from yesterday, when yesterday I had I basically used the wrong material on the metal for the belt, but now I've upgraded that. I think it looks a lot smarter. Looks like crap but good kind of thing. Money in the Bank, I'm not a big fan of them. I've just created a load. I just did some easy ones. I will use these in my universe modes, respective mode, but you know, they're not that popular. They don't need to be. I wasn't really that bothered about them. Logos, go check those out. I've got logos from the official or the original ECW Hardcore Heaven and November to Remember logos. You should definitely go and put those on your universe mode. Bash at the Beach always does well. In fact, these guys are catching up nicely. These are the shows, not the logos. But I've used the actual logos that you get as a bonus for uploading the show itself. Finally, the movesets. Movesets have been really slow this year, as you can see. But honestly, I can't promote these enough. These are all really genuine and authentic movesets that I would recommend to anybody. And unfortunately, it's just one of those things. I think it's going to take a little bit of time for the game to bed in for people before they start needing movesets for the wrestlers. I think people have to work out their universe mode, create their wrestlers, download their wrestlers, etc., etc., before they get into this. But I do like to make all of the wrestlers have their proper movesets, especially the best wrestlers that I obviously have in my universe mode and game. So there'll be more to come once I get another 1,314 downloads. But that's it. Enjoy the content. This has been a very long broadcast, almost an hour. Thank you for sticking with me. It's been a pleasure. And until the next video, I'm out of here. Whoop, whoop.